Halo Reach, Bungie's swan song to an end to their series, the biggest Halo game at its time, and the Halo that divided the Halo community, according to a few people. And I'm one of those people, but not for the reasons you may think. When Reach came out, I was already on the move to playing on PC, and my gold membership was going to run out in a month or so, and I really didn't want to buy a membership to play online for a game that I already bought. So I didn't give Reach the proper playthrough and experience, and I'm a pretty big Halo fan. I still remember finishing the campaign after a couple of weeks, maybe a month, not because it's a long campaign, but because I just didn't feel like playing through it. Same with the multiplayer. I still remember that it took a while to get Infection and other custom games to work properly. So for the last month or so of my gold membership, I just went back to playing Halo 3. But now I feel like I should give Reach one more try and see why so many people love it. Halo Reach's campaign is a prequel. It takes place during the events of the Halo book, The Fall of Reach, and shortly before Halo CE's campaign. You don't play as the Master Chief in this Halo, but it's not the first Halo Bungie made where you don't play as the Master Chief. You also have Halo 3 ODST. But that campaign isn't as dark, I guess, as Reach's campaign. Yes, ODST does set an amazing tone and atmosphere, but the story isn't really a sad one. But that's ODST. Another video for another day. This is Halo Reach's campaign, so if you haven't played it, then get ready for some spoilers. And buckle up because it's a sad campaign. We start with a beautiful opening of the planet Reach, showing us what the world is like, and showing us what the Covenant have done on Reach, and foreshadowing what is to happen to us. So we already know our Spartan isn't going to make it, but who is our Spartan we play as? We play as Noble 6, aka you. That's pretty obvious, we can see that it's our Spartan we play as, which was honestly the coolest thing to see in a Halo campaign. But what isn't obvious is what Noble 6 has done in the past, mainly because his files were covered in black ink.
You read his file?
Only the parts that weren't covered in black ink.
Meaning many of his records are non-existing, but from the ones that weren't covered in black ink, we know that Noble 6, Spartan B312, was a lone wolf assassin who would mainly do Black Ops missions, where a quote from Dr. Catherine Halsey says, "6 has made entire militia groups disappear." So Noble 6 is a lone wolf Spartan who'd go alone to many enemy lines and completely wipe them out. Because of that, Noble 6 was given the rating of hyper lethal, and there's only one other Spartan who has that rating, Master Chief. Okay, so we know our Spartan is a pretty badass Spartan. But that's all his lone wolf mission stuff. Now we're part of a team. Noble team.
Glad to have your skill set. But we're a team. That lone wolf stuff stays behind. Clear? Got it, sir.
We're introduced into Noble team by Noble 1, Carter, the leader of the team. Same for the rest. Noble 2, Kat. Noble 3, June. Noble 4, Emil. And Noble 5, George. We don't get anything about who they are, aside from their names. So the first time going to this game, back when it came out, I wasn't as interested in them. Except for Emil, because I mean, come on, just look at him. But now later on as an adult, I wanted to try to truly immerse myself into the story and try to be Noble 6 in his shoes. So this is my team, and these are my comrades who I'm fighting with against the Covenant. Our first mission begins us with going to a relay outpost believed to be taken down by rebels.
So why would rebels want to cut off Reach from the rest of the colonies?
You got a chance, maybe you can ask him, George.
When we get there, we find a distress beacon and plasma residue, which shouldn't be on Reach, meaning that it can only be one thing, the Covenant. That's why George seems so off-put by it.
Can't be. Not on Reach.
And if we walk around, we can even find Covenant footprints. We find some civilians, and one of them tells us that his son was killed by something. We get some movement, and yeah, not as immersive as I'd like, especially compared to Halo CE's introduction to the Covenant.
Oh god, they're trying to get through the door! Security! Intruders in 502! Sam! Come on!
But anywho, we push through the Covenant and get the relay back online again, and we let Colonel Hollins know that the Covenant are on Reach.
There are no rebels. The Covenant are on Reach. Acknowledge?
Come again, Noble One? Did you say Covenant?
Affirmative. It's the winter contingency.
May God help us all.
Then a few days later, on July 26, 2552, at 11:26 hours, we go to Oni Sword Base. I never really paid attention to the dates when I first played the campaign, but this time I wanted to make sure that I remembered all the dates and times, because it helps you understand how long it took the Covenant to take over Reach, and it didn't take long. Going on with the campaign, we take back Sword Base and we have a conversation with Dr. Halsey, and we learn that in our first mission, the device we found was a latchkey that will help Dr. Halsey with her research. Then a few weeks later, we go on a scouting mission with June. So what was all that with Halsey? She's a huge part of the series, and that's all we get of her. No follow-up, no nothing. Just, here's the next mission. And little side complaint, but when I was going over the dates and times, I thought this mission was right after talking with Halsey, time-wise, because the opening cutscene only shows 26-30 hours. I also googled Reach's time cycle, and they have a 27-hour cycle. So I was thinking this was the same day, just that night, which would have made sense, say if like Halsey told us to go there for more info, or more Oni things. But no, it wasn't. The end of this mission, you have Kat say the sun will be up in a few hours, and it's gonna be a busy day. And then it shows them going to battle. I'm just like, what gives? No follow-up to Halsey, just a, hey, here's Halsey? And there's no follow-up as to why we're on a scouting mission. No one says anything as to why we're here. I would understand this if this was the following night from Sword Base, and now we're looking for places where the Covenant have started landing and taking over, and we're seeing what their numbers are actually like. But no, it's a few weeks after first contact with the Covenant, and we're there to set up explosives. Why is there no info as to why we're doing this mission? Halo CE even gave you a brief summary of what the mission is about.
How do we get inside the ship if it's in the air? Or is usually a rifle, not wings.
There's a gravity lift that ferries troops and supplies between the ship and the surface. That's our ticket in.
Once we get inside the ship, I should be able to lock on to the tracking signal.
Just my complaint, but things from here on only get worse. But not for the reasons you may think. Pushing through that mission, we plant the explosives and see that there's a Covenant invading army already set up on Reach. The next day at 800 hours, we go to battle with the Covenant and see the success of our work. We continue to take out the Covenant and push to Aspire to get its shields down so that we could take it out. And this is where it starts to get worse. The remaining missions in the campaign are a bit different in my opinion. The tone of the story starts to get more dark and sad. And it's funny to me because back when I first played Reach's campaign, I got the same feeling of how real the invasion is like and seeing all the sacrifices they made. And I'll get to those sacrifices, but chronologically. The next mission is probably the least liked Halo mission because of one part. At first, you may think it's going to be fun flying around in a spaceship and fighting. But then you realize all it is just you flying around in circles, blowing up only Banshees and Seraphs until they feel like it's been enough time for you to continue the actual mission. It feels like it wasn't needed, but maybe they wanted to make the space flying time longer by making you do that, because just flying the Saber, cutting out the Covenant carrier's engines, and placing the bomb would have been too short of a mission. That's probably my last complaint of the campaign, and I did say that it only gets worse, which is still true, because now we start to see the end of everything. We get to drive on the Covenant Corvette, but it was damaged on the way there, and the only way that it could be fired is manually, meaning...
That's a one-way trip.
So George tosses us out and stays behind to activate the drive, and we're not only seeing us lose a good Spartan, we're also seeing us lose Reach. Even with George's great sacrifice, the Covenant was just too relentless.
Yeah, we're picking up anomalies too. Are you reading it? Multiple Covenant signatures. Is anyone else? They're everywhere.
The tone really starts to set in here. We're still fighting this battle that we've already lost, and there's very little, if any, hope left for Reach. But we're a Spartan, and Spartans never give up. We fight till the very end. But not everyone on Reach is a Spartan. There's also just normal citizens and civilians who definitely don't have the skill sets to be able to fight. So as a Spartan, we need to save and protect them so that they could manage to be able to get to a civilian evac ship and escape off Reach safely. After a few days of walking, on August 23rd at 1534, we get to the city of New Alexandria and see that there's still civilians who need to escape, but they can't due to the 3 Covenant Corvettes above the city, and the only way to get rid of those ships is by getting the AA missiles back online. So once we get those back online, we can fire it, and we can take down the Covenant Corvettes.
Civilian transport away.
With the last civilian ship escaping safely, we stay behind since our fight is far from over. We rendezvous with Carter, and he tells us that we need to take out Covenant jammers because we can't get communications with Hollands. Sorry, I just have to praise the game some more. This is one of my favorite missions in all of Halo, mainly because back on the Xbox 360, when you save and quit from a mission, the game's background would be the last mission you played, and the New Alexandria one just looked so good. Another reason as to why this is such an amazing mission is you see what the Covenant have done to the city, and see what they're still doing to the city. Seeing the city taken over and being glassed, it's a sad sight to watch. At this point, we've lost the war. All hope is gone. Seeing something like that, and I would have given up. But we have to push through it all, because we still have things to do on Reach. We get to each of the jammers that are blocking our comms, and we take them down. After that, we meet up with the rest of the team and try to get comms back with Colonel Hollins. We managed to get communications with Hollins, but only for a few seconds, because for some reason we decided to stay inside the city that is currently being glassed. Not sure why we stayed for so long after all the civilians have already escaped. And making the situation from bad to worse, we now witness one of the most BS deaths in Halo.
Governor's still hunting for something.
Where does he get off calling a demolition a priority one?
I really hated seeing that for the first time when I played Halo Reach. It's not the death that I'm upset with, it's just the way it was done. I know I'm not the only one who was annoyed with that death. After Kat's death, we get picked up by a Pelican, and then a few days later on August 29th at 2616, we head back to Oni Sword Base because Dot gave us coordinates to go there. Some of you may not know who Dot is. She's an AI, but not like Cortana. Dot is a dumb AI, and I'm not even trying to insult her, that's just what the wiki says. She's been helping us from the start. She helps provide observation and intelligence where possible through security cams and satellites that are orbiting the planet. And all the cutscenes you see that grid zooming in, that's all Dot's work, and it's pretty cool to have her. She's not like all the other AIs where each basically have a distinct personality. Dot is more calming and has a nice tone to how she speaks. So with Dot's coordinates, we head to Sword Base and we try to take it back from the hands of the Covenant. During this mission, we finally get to use a Scorpion, and it's always nice to use a Scorpion in any Halo game really. Once done wreaking havoc with the Scorpion, we head inside Sword Base and we take out the Covenant inside, and we proceed to Dot's coordinates. But when we get there, we think that she gave us the wrong coordinates.
Dot, check your vector.
Vector confirmed, Commander. We are precisely where Oni has directed. Apologies. Coordinates revised. Please confirm?
Revised?
By an AI of unknown origin, whose clearance is well above my
So she revises and gets new coordinates by an unknown AI who has a higher clearance level than her. Any guesses? It's Cortana. With the secret door opening up, we get a tram ride that reminds me of the ones from Half-Life and Portal, mainly because of the way they have the camera angles. It's not a camera that's always on you each time. We get ones from surveillance cameras and some that move angles during dialogue, making it feel so much more real, as if someone's just recording the events with their phone. It doesn't try to make it feel like you're watching a movie, but rather in the movie itself. It's not just the camera panning around, it moves with you and shakes. I love that you see your Spartan as if he's next to you, like you're actually there with them too. It's a very nice touch, and I could see why so many people love the campaign. With the tram ride being over, we learn that there's a foreigner structure underground that Halsey has been researching and studying. But just like all Oni secrets, we need to dispose of it properly. We defend and make sure to let Halsey finish her work, because without it, then there would be no hope for humanity's survival. And that hope is the AI Cortana. She's chosen us as her courier.
She has chosen you as her couriers.
Chosen? By an AI?
By this AI, yes. Her measure of you carries as much weight as my own.
So due to how smart Cortana is, she came to the conclusion that we're the best to be her courier. Just hope Benny doesn't get any ideas about this platinum chip. Halsey tells us that we need to deliver Cortana to the ship, the Pillar of Autumn, in a shipbreaking yard. So Noble 6, you, Carter, and Emil go there, while June goes with Halsey to make sure nothing happens and falls into Covenant hands. They'll be fine, but for us, I can't say the same. Dot gives us the coordinates to the Pillar of Autumn, and she also tells us that it's not going to be easy to get there because the Covenant have been taking out any and all small-scale air attacks, and also an armada of Covenant cruisers are hastening to the site. As we arrive closer to the Pillar of Autumn, we're under attack and Carter is wounded pretty badly, so now only with Emil, it's now a ground game.
Emil, go with him. It's a ground game now.
I love this mission for so many reasons. One is because I love the map Boneyard when playing Invasion, and two is because they chose a shipyard for the area. Yeah, they could have made it where the Pillar of Autumn was in a safe, secure, and well-defended area, but that would get rid of what Reach is trying to do. It's trying to show you that there's no hope left for Reach anymore. The Covenant have won and taken over Reach. As we get closer to the Pillar of Autumn, we get stopped by a Scarab, and Carter, as the commander of the team, he gives it one final effort in his mission for us to get to the ship safely. Now Noble Team is just down to you and Emil. We push through the Covenant forces and make it to the Pillar of Autumn. Emil gets on the Mac gun and we get Cortana to Captain Keyes, but not without any loss. A Phantom drops off some Zealot class elites onto Emil. He takes them on and kills them, but just before that, one of them stabs him in the back with an energy sword, ultimately killing him. But just like all great Spartans, they never stop fighting till the very end. I always hoped that at least Emil would survive in the end, but sadly he doesn't. And the first time seeing his death, I was so sad that I didn't even want to continue the campaign. He was honestly the coolest Spartan out of all the Halo games, and seeing him die just really sucked. But now with his death, there's no one on the Mac gun and the Pillar of Autumn has yet to leave. So knowing what we must do to make sure humanity has a chance of survival, we stay behind and make sure the Pillar of Autumn can escape. So we go to the Mac gun and get on it, and we take out any and all phantoms and banshees in the area. And right before a Covenant ship can start glassing, we shoot it right where the beam comes out and taking down the ship. So now the Pillar of Autumn can escape safely off Reach and away from the Covenant. But we don't go with them. We remain behind on Reach because we still have to finish the fight with the Covenant. So on August 30th at 2000 hours, we start our last mission. Kill as many as you can of the damn Covenant. Show them that you don't go out without a fight. We'll do whatever it takes and everything it takes because that's what we do. But as we saw earlier, it's a sad story and we don't make it out alive. But we definitely die fighting for Reach and humanity. And that's it. That's the campaign for Reach. It's an amazing story that shows us the chaos that happened on Reach. How we fought to make sure humanity can survive another day, and it was beautifully shown to us. I really enjoyed going back and playing Reach's campaign. It's such a beautiful game. The story is a bit oddly structured and lacking some details, but overall it's a great story and showing us the events that occurred on Reach during its fall, showing us what sacrifices we made for the sake of humanity's survival, and showing us that sometimes we don't always win the war and people will die. So if you haven't played Reach's campaign, or it's been a while since you've played it, maybe give it another playthrough, and this time take your time with it. Go around the areas and get a feel for what's happening on Reach, and trust me, it'll be really worth it. All in all, solid 10 out of 10 game in my books. I didn't go over the multiplayer mainly because I didn't play it as much when it first came out, but it was still a fun multiplayer, especially Invasion. To me, that's such a fun game type to play. I still go back to it today because of just how much I enjoy it. Wish they could bring something like that to Halo Infinite one day, because I think a lot of people would like that. And that's it for the video. I had a lot of fun playing Reach, and I definitely recommend playing it. And if you enjoyed the video, maybe leave a like and comment on why, or a dislike if you didn't. And maybe even subscribing so you could know when I post a new video. Also, I'm probably live on Twitch right now playing Reach, or another game. Who knows? Only way to know is by clicking that link. Come on, I know you wanna. Please?